Think like a scientist. Although you may not know it, you think like a scientist every day. Whenever you ask a question and explore possible answers, you use many of the same skills that scientists do. Some of these skills are described below. Number 1. Observing. When you use one or more of your 5 senses to gather information about the world, you are observing. Hearing a cat voice, counting green seeds before planting, and smelling smoke are all observations. To increase the power of their senses, scientists sometimes use microscopes, telescopes, or other instruments that help them more detailed observations. An observation must be factual and accurate, an exact report of what your senses detect. It is important to keep careful records of your observations in science class by writing or drawing in a notebook. The information collected through observation is called evidence or data. Number 2. Inferring. When you explain or interpret an observation, you are inferring or making an inference. For example, if you hear your dog barking, you may infer that someone is at your front door. To make this inference, you combine the evidence, the barking dog, and your experience or knowledge. You know that your dog barks when strangers approach. To reach a logical conclusion, notice that an inference is not a fact. It is only one of many possible explanations for an observation. For example, your dog may be barking because it wants to go for a walk or it sees a cat. An inference may turn out to be incorrect even if it is based on accurate observations and logical reasoning. The only way to find out if an inference is correct is to investigate further. Number 3. Predicting. When you listen to the weather forecast, you hear many predictions about the next day's weather. What the temperature will be, whether it will rain, and how windy it will be. Weather forecasters use observations and knowledge of weather patterns to predict the weather. The skill of predicting involves making an inference about a future event based on current evidence or past experience. Because a prediction is an inference, it may prove to be false. In science class, you can test some of your predictions by doing experiments. For example, suppose you predict that larger paper airplanes can fly farther than smaller airplanes. How could you test your prediction? Number 4. Classifying. Could you imagine searching for a book in the library if the books were shelved in no particular order? Your trip to library would be an all-day event. Luckily, librarians group together books on similar topics or by the same author. Grouping together items that are alike in some way is called classifying. You can classify items in many ways, by size, by shape, by use, and by other important characteristics. Like librarians, scientists use the skill of classifying to organize information and objects. When things are sorted into groups, the relationships among them become easier to understand. Number 5. Making models. Have you ever drawn a picture to help someone understand what you were saying? Such a drawing is one type of model. A model is a picture, diagram, computer image, or other representation of a complex object or process. Making models helps people understand things that they cannot observe directly. Scientists often use models to represent things that are either very large or very small, such as the planets in the solar system or the parts of a cell. Such models are physical models, drawings or 3-dimensional structures that look like the real thing. Other models are mental models, mathematical equations or words that describe how something works. Number 6. Communicating. Whenever you talk on the phone, write a letter, or listen to your teacher at school or college, you are communicating. Communicating is the process of sharing ideas and information with other people. Communicating effectively requires many skills, including writing, reading, speaking, listening, and making models. Scientists communicate to share results, information, and opinions. Scientists often communicate about their work in journals, over the telephone, in letters, and on the internet. They also attend scientific meetings where they share their ideas with one another in person. I hope now you understand who to think like a scientist. Thanks for watching, and we will meet in the next video.